hours from now. And that's the Flare protocol, which is founded by none other than the man himself, Smooth in Crypto. This guy's been in crypto since I believe he was 22 years old. He's been around multiple cycles. He's a veteran in the game. He's been in Hex, been in, Pulse, been in Tinex community for a very long time. So without further ado, he's a very special guest to me. We're going to bring him up. How are you doing, my friend?
What up, Jukes? That was a great introduction. I really appreciate that. It sounds.
Thanks, bro. I've lost the internet. I hope it's not my side. I hope the internet connection is not my side. Is it me? I've lost you. Can anyone hear me?
We're back. We're back.
Okay, we're back. All right, cool. Yeah. I was just saying, bro, I haven't streamed for a while, so I was surprised I still got the intro in me. It's been a while since I've done the intro.
Yeah, man. It's and it's great that I'm on your channel for the comeback. So.
Yeah, man. Let's go. That's great, man. That's great. Shout out everyone in the chat. We've got Mrs. Whittle here, of course, always supporting. We've got Max Kane. Max Kane's a new face. I haven't seen Max Kane, so welcome to the chat, my friend. Let's go, the goats. That's very kind of you, my friend. And guys, we've got a lot to get through in today's stream. I don't know if our good friend Smooth the Crypto's done this yet, but I think we will get into the UI. So this might be the first stream where you guys will see the UI and you can get familiar with it before the protocol goes live. I believe in less than 24 hours from now. And that's super exciting, but let's just warm up the chat a bit before we get in. So what's your thoughts on everything going on in crypto right now? I mean, it's a bit of a wild time. I don't know what your personal thoughts are. You've been in crypto for more cycles than I have. So how does it feel like? Is this stuff, in the wider crypto cycle that you expected, or did you see it playing out differently?
Yeah, I think we all kind of saw it playing out differently. In my opinion, I thought this year was going to absolutely rip. This was going to be euphoria. It was going to be awesome. And then, of course, the unexpected tends to always happen in crypto. So the most amount of FUD cases you could ever see, and overall the crypto market just suffering from, people rotating out of speculative assets as stocks, crypto, whatever, rolling into more bonds, more real estate, trying to get more of a kind of anchor point. So unfortunately, it's going to take a little longer for us to see some growth, but things have felt like they bottomed out recently. Definitely a wider crypto market uptick. So long story short, I think it's par for the course, and it's just another day in crypto.
Yeah, man, I hear you. I feel like this. I haven't been in crypto for as many cycles as you, but one thing that I've definitely learned being in this space for the amount of time I've been in is, like when everyone thinks it can't possibly go down, when everyone thinks like this is it, like this is no breaks, full on green, thick candles to the upside for 6 months straight. When everyone's in that mindset, it's not gonna happen. It never works out like that. And I feel like, since Trump came into power and there was a Bitcoin reserve and all these things were happening in the wider markets, we all thought like that's it, like it's takeoff. And maybe there's just intelligent people out there who are counter trading everyone. At the end of the day, there's probably some big whales. I mean, I keep seeing people posting about this whale account that's like putting up some shorts and all this and making loads of money. So I'm sure there's people with a lot of money who are counter trading everyone, and probably some wider manipulation going on in the market as always. But yeah. I guess that's just crypto, that's just the state of things. But if you guys believe in the long-term vision of crypto, if you guys are seeing the adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, and if you believe in this asset class on a long-term timescale, when I say long-term, I mean 10, 20 years, then I think we're all going to win. So that's just my personal view. I know we all like our 4-year cycles, all like our crazy bull run, but sometimes if you zoom out, I know everyone here zoom out and stuff like that, but if you do zoom out and you look like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where we could be, I think we're going to be in a great place.
Yeah. And I think overall, going to your point of, market manipulation, I think a lot of governments, including the US, right, they're trying to start, I think they're low key getting positions as we speak, and we don't even know it yet, to be completely honest. There's been other countries, that have been buying the dip like crazy. So
Mhm.
I really think people realize where we're headed, and whether it happens this year, 5 years, 10 years, it will look really, really good at one point. And it's
Mhm.
just going to take time. I mean, this is a very brand new market that we're in, right? We're in 15 years, 16 years, or whatever it is. Um, you know, think of how long stocks have been here, real estate's been here, gold's been here, right? All of these assets take decades and decades to grow. So overall, I think it's par for the course, and you know, I'm thinking governments are stacking up, so it's like we should be stacking up too.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like, there's so many countries all around the world. You have to imagine they're all trying to compete for the same bag, right? For Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for whatever other coins, right?
Yep.
They're all trying to compete for the same bag. Like, they're all gonna want to buy the dip, you know. So that's just my opinion, you know. Like, we've been buying the dip of the dip of the dip of the dip for the last 3 years. It's time these governments start buying our dips. You know what I mean? It's just one of those ones.
Yeah, if the
I am
government
actually
can
gonna.
pump our bags, I think we'd all be pretty happy.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, it's just I just don't see it as that. I know, like, maybe I'm just too positive and too optimistic, but I just don't see it as like serious. I always have a longer term vision, and even if it's brutal, like, my mindset in life is like, when you get backed into a corner in like a boxing ring, you've got two choices: you can crumble, or you can fight. Like, I'm always gonna fight. So, like, even if prices are down and it looks depressing, to me that's like, all right, that's an opportunity to check my strategy, check what I'm doing. All right, build bigger bags in certain areas. Like, if you applied that mindset when we were down before, when Titan X was down before, and you were like, all right, I'm gonna buy some of this Dragon X stuff, I'm gonna buy some of this other coins, this and this. I think it did very well. So I know they say buy the blood on the streets and buy the dip, and I know it's hard to hear that because you buy the dip and you dips again, you buy the dip and you dips again. But like, just try and reevaluate your strategy all the time and learn from your mistakes all the time. Like, crypto is brutal. Like, the university of crypto is brutal, bro. If I could pay someone 5 grand when I first got into this game to teach me everything I would need to know, probably would prefer doing that. You know what I mean? Because the amount of L's you take in crypto is just a part of the game, you know. So always learn from your mistakes, always reevaluate the game plan. And that. Okay, we're up
Absolutely.
to 50. We're up to 50 viewers. What about Titan X? What do you see going on there? Like, what's your thoughts on just the price action we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden we're at 6017, right? I think we had a nice little bounce of where we were, and right, everything is pretty much green in the whole ecosystem right now, which is awesome. And you know, part of the reason why I'm launching Flare now is because I really feel like this is just a good time. Something feels a little different, in my opinion, and I it feels just like a good bottom as well. I'm not saying I'm catching the bottom, but if I could possibly be the bottom where my coin project launches, I think that would just be
Mhm.
so awesome for not only the project but also the LP, right? Being a catalyst, it will be just a
Mhm.
cool look if it bottoms
Yeah,
right there.
and one thing I'll say definitely is it might be beneficial for you actually, because your protocol is quite a long minting phase, right? So even if you don't really time the exact bottom, like, you have 11 weeks, right,
Yep.
to like mint this token and to get the token rolling out. So you can catch, like, let's say the last 4 weeks of that mint phase catches a huge uptrend. That could be really bullish. So I actually think, for your sake, having a longer mint window is actually probably really beneficial for your protocol, right? Like, how long have we been in a bearish market for Titan X? Probably the last 4 months now.
Yep.
So 11 weeks is what, roughly another 4 months, give or take. So, I mean, what's the odds we stay depressed prices for another 4 months? I don't know. I'm not telling people anything, but like, you could catch a nice pump during the mid phase.
Yeah.
Um,
11 weeks. I mean, that's a really long time. And, I want obviously a great first week. But, if week 4 is better than week 1, am I really going to be mad? Right. You know what I mean? Like, is week 6 going to be better than week one? Like, am I, I'm cool with that. So I think having a really kind of long-term mint was part of the plan, and to catch waves. And sometimes waves go up, waves go down, but the daily auctions are going to happen no matter what. I'm just giving you a good window of mints, which is, the exact ratio you get. So it's going to be a cool thing, and see how this LP grows over time with hopefully a Titan X/X28 price rise.
Yeah, hopefully. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to quickly share my screen, and I'm actually going to show the flare diagrams that I made in our last stream. Purpose of this, guys, is simply to do a quick refresher, a quick recap over what flare is all about. Obviously, it's launching tomorrow, so it's good to know.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. That's my bad. Yeah, it's launching Friday, so it's it's good to get a refresher and basically see what's going on. So I think what we'll do is we'll go to we'll just start here, right? So I'm sure you guys already know briefly what Flare is. It's an LP web token, but it's got a very unique kind of a mining. Well, it's got a unique token distribution approach because it uses two actual methods of minting the tokens, right? So it has minting and it has auctions. Most protocols will just go for one or the other, right? They'll go for minting, or they'll go for auctions, or they'll go for mining, right? But Flare is actually mixing it up, and it's doing minting and auctions. So let's just see if this is still correct, because I think there have been a few small changes. I want to make sure that this is still good. So there's going to be a weekly minting between Friday and Saturday. Is that right?
Yep.
And then auctions start on day 2, run every day except mint phase days. So most days are going to be auction days, and there's going to be 1 24-hour mint day.
Yep. Every Friday from 2 p.m. UTC to Saturday, 2 p.m. UTC.
Sweet. And if I remember correctly, the buy and burn is programmed to ramp up. Is it towards this midday phase?
Yep. So Sunday through Wednesday will be 4%, Thursday will be 10%, Friday 15%, Saturday 15% as well. So 15% of the total in the buy and burn will be used.
That's it, yeah. 15% Friday to Saturdays, right?
Okay. Yep. So all pushing, and just like we saw Inferno, right? With that buy and burn ramping up through the week, it actually really helps that ROI on Fridays possibly be really solid.
Of course, yeah. You want a high ROI when people mint, because then people will know exactly what ROI they're getting. So if you have a high token price, then they know exactly what they're getting. Cool. So, and I'm sure you guys can infer from this, the buy and burn is going to be decentralized. So it's going to have a % allocation for various days, and it's going to be fully decentralized. So there's going to be no buy and burn FUD.
No on off at all. If it has anything, it's using it.
That's it. So yeah, you're gonna have basically like Smooth just mentioned, and he explained it very well. It's gonna ramp up towards the mint day phase, buy and burn, for the sake of basically keeping the ROI high going into the midday phase. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And I think this did change. I think this is the thing that did change. That is the mint ratio allocation. I think Oh wait.
Yeah, so it went from it's now dropping 0.01 every week. So it'll start at 1 at the end of 11 weeks, it'll be at 0.9. So very slow change, just 0.01 difference every week.
Okay, I'll go you.
So we did that just, obviously we want this to scale, but I also want mining to be as profitable as possible. And the closer that is to 1-to-1 in the math we do, the more profitability every week that could possibly happen.
So it's going to be this. Is it going to be week 2.99 flare?
Yep.
Am I right? Yeah. And then it goes down to 0.9 in week 11.
Yep. So very, very slow. Not a lot at all. And I think when last time I had it was 0.02. So I mean, it was still very minimal, but
yeah. I remember it was still quite gradual before, but now you've gone for an even more gradual, decline. but I guess it's over 11 weeks, and I think that can really, I think in hindsight, this could be beneficial for you if it's the case that you catch, because if you catch a pump, all you need to do is catch a good few weeks of a pump in Titanex, right, during that mid phase, and you'll I'm sure you'll get much more participation. It's like everyone starts playing with the protocols when there's green candles. Unfortunately, people don't like to play with things when it's red.
Yep.
So, you know, I think that's possibly the wrong approach. That's my personal opinion, but you know, we've seen with some protocols that launched recently, like they launched and they kind of missed any bullish activity in the wider Titanex market, and you can see how it does affect them. But having that spread over 11 weeks, I really think you might be able to mitigate the risk. You're just mitigating the risk of, like, you know, because if you did something like a 2-week mint phase, it might get less participation. 11 weeks. And also what I like about it is, like, if people do catch some green candles, like they notice some green candles and some price action on Flare, the mint phase is still open, so they can still get in. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So they're still, like, they can still play with the token and they can start to attract more people in.
Yeah, and you know, it's really such a long mint phase in reality. Like, I never had it's a blessing, really. I never had to time the bottom because it's so long, right? There's still a ton of tokenomics baked in where it will still be going smoothly weeks from now, you know. So it's overall going to be a pretty positive time, hopefully, to get in any of the 11 weeks or even after.
And guys, like, bear in mind, like, 11 weeks in crypto is quite a long time. You know, think about that last huge pump we had. When was that? From August to September, October, like October, November, it topped out. Titanex. That's roughly 12 weeks, right, or something like that. Like, and that felt like such a long time. So 11 weeks is a good amount of time. It's in crypto is a good amount of time, and the chances, the possibility you'll catch a pump, in my opinion, is a lot higher for Flare than it is perhaps for something that only had a 2-week or even 1-month mint phase.
Yep, exactly. Cool. And it's just a really benefit of just being you know, safer, in my opinion. Like, having the chance for anybody to get in, that was the goal with the 11 weeks.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hype the chat up. They got to drop a 777 in the chat. I don't know if you know about that one.
No.
Oh, you don't. It's a thing Jake used to say, like, back when he used to stream ages ago. And then he stopped saying it, so I've stolen it now. Jake, it belongs to me. The copyright is now mine.
Smart.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so I don't think we need to go too deep into the auction mechanics. It's gonna be in the auction 5% per day post mint phase. So I think during the mint phase, it's going to be more aggressive on the amount of percent allocation given into the auctions. Is that right?
Yeah, it's completely ramped up. It's insane. So if you could just go to the mint and auction allocation, and we can just run through that real quick.
Sure. That's, I think, the most important. Is this? I think this may have changed, I believe. Is it right? Since we last went over it.
It is 48% to the daily auction pool buying every day, and 28% buy and burn total.
Buy Flare for daily auction. So this is 48% now. So.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, 48%. And the buy and burns what, sorry?
28%.
28%. And the rest remains the same?
Yeah, 8%, 8%, 8%.
Sweet.
So 48% after any mint or any daily auction is going to buy over the whole next day, every single day, and store it into the daily auction pool.
And this feeds in again to the sustainability, because you know, this is actually something I've been thinking about a lot recently, with just the design of protocols. Is, think about it, right? You've got buy and burn, and you've got like buy and feed, or buy and feed into the auction system. If you think about it, right, buy and burn is straight buy pressure, which is great. By the way, I'd say my internet is a bit low right now. Hopefully everyone can hear me. But buy and burn, it buys tokens and burns them, right? So it does push the price up. It burns the tokens. We all like that. But with buy and burn, like you can't use those tokens for anything anymore. They're gone. Like they don't exist anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They've been sent to a null address. But with buy and feed, you're buying the token, so it's still giving that price appreciation in the short term. And then by storing those tokens away in the auction pool, you're then allowing those tokens to be almost like recycled in a sense that they can now bring more economic energy back into your protocol, like in the form of Titan X or X28. By auctioning them off, it will bring X28. Is it X28 people enter? Oh no, Titan X, right?
Titan X and
Titan X. Yeah, so
Titan X.
Yeah. So like, but by using those tokens, you're effectively just recycling but you're allowing more economic energy to get in. And especially with these auction type protocols, like you want the most sustainable auction. You want that auction pool to be really, really, really sustainable, right?
Yep.
Because perhaps there could be trouble if worst case scenario like auction pool runs out, right? So you want to keep stuff super sustainable. And I've been playing with the idea in my head. I've just been thinking like, does it make sense to like I agree with this change, and this is just something I've been thinking about recently. Like totally,
Yep.
I actually forgot you made this change, but like I do agree with the change that perhaps it's not the best thing to be super deflationary for these perpetual auction ideas, because you need as many tokens feeding back into your auction pool as possible.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's just my thoughts.
It's I mean it's an amazing thought, and that was the exact thought process I had into this. And when we're playing with that number, this totals 76%. So I was playing with all the numbers and whatnot. The higher we put into the daily auction pool, like buying percentage, actually over time, the more tokens you burn. So with the same amount of participation, if these at these levels, we actually burned way more. We will burn way more over time doing it like this than if it was going more to a burn. It's really crazy
That's
because
insane. Wow.
every single time these get put out, bought in, and back in and out, right? In and out. That's just another week or day of the buy and burn, buying and burning, period. So it's, and not to mention the taxes that are putting more daily auction pool back into the daily auction, and just having a straight burn as well.
That's really interesting. So basically, what we're saying is by having this perpetual auction system, being more in the auction, you're gonna burn more tokens over time.
Yep.
Wow. Well, then I feel like that seals the deal. To be honest,
Yeah.
that seals it. Like it just makes more sense to do it like this. So
exactly. And if
yeah,
the more tokens we burn, that means we had a lot of participation, which means right, our Inferno flare pair is massive and our liquidity web is massive. So it's pretty wild.
That's insane. Yeah, because if you get more economic energy, then more goes to the LP web. So there's going to be 8% hit to the LP web and then 8% to the Inferno buy and burn V2.
Yeah. So the one change I had for the Inferno buy and burn as well, and this is just so much more bullish. The first 4 weeks, that 8% is going to solely the Inferno and Flare LP pair. And then after that 4 weeks, forever, it goes to the Inferno buy and burn.
Flare LP.
Yep.
So it's going to basically build up the LP first.
Yep.
That makes sense because,
So, because that was one of the things, like, I really want to build on Inferno. I really love Inferno. And it going to the Inferno buy and burn is very bullish. But what is more bullish? Us building a massive LP with Inferno and then buying and burning it, right? Like, that's more bullish.
Yeah, that's sick. Guys, I really feel like just being a streamer in this space and just watching all these founders build and speaking to so many founders like I have, this might sound like a strange example, but like if you think about motor travel, like people were like, if you guys watch my stream, I make some random analogies, but if you think of like people were on horseback for literally thousands of years, like thousands of years. Like horseback was the way people traveled, or like maybe camel back if you lived in certain areas of the world, right? Or elephant back or something, right? But people travel by horseback, like that's how people travel. And then, like, I don't know if it was the late 1800s, some guy invented a motor and then invented like a motor car. And then in like probably 30 years, everyone's driving cars. And now we have vehicles that can outpace, anything. And you get rockets, and then you have rockets flying into space and satellites. And all of this crazy stuff can come about very quickly when you put a lot of brains together to think about an issue. And being in the space, like in the Tinex space, and seeing a lot of founders who are trying to innovate and trying to make these improvements to tokenomics and these types of things, it's so interesting because I feel like as a collective, like as a community, we're really making like a lot of progress into understanding decentralized finance and what is a good tokenomic, what's a bad tokenomic, understanding liquidity. Like now everyone wants to add to LP to create thicker LP, whereas like when we had protocols launching a year ago, everyone was just focused purely on buy and burn. Now it's like now we're focusing on LP, building thick LPs, and that will make the buy and burn more effective. And all these different little changes, it's just crazy that you put all these brains together and people just like make rapid progress. Think about if Tinex never existed, like none of this would be a thing, bro. Like no one would be thinking about all these things.
Yeah.
And all these like little minute differences that we can change in one little thing.
Exactly.
It's just crazy.
And this is obviously I've put a different spin on the mint process, the mint phase, whatever you want to call it. But this is just tweaks on previously made things, right? I know I didn't reinvent the wheel, but I put some crazy aggressive tokenomics within this. Like it is like a slow paced mint phase, but with a absolute sprinter of tokenomics, right? Like it is gas pedal from the jump, in my opinion. And um, just to promote healthy LPs, healthy auctions, healthy growth over time. And I don't know if you know this either. Flare will be OFT, so it's going to be omni-chain fungible token. So everything that starts on ETH, that's the supply wherever chain we go to from release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you told me that before. That's super sick. So Flare is going to be. I assume that means the LP web is going to expand omni chain.
Yep, exactly.
With the Titan system. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So not to mention if Flare is used for an input on something or something built on top of Flare that utilizes the LP, right? There's a ton of stuff that could be done in the future, right? If someone wants to collab and do something else, like there's a lot of stuff being built in the background that is really bullish for the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely,
yeah,
there's stuff coming for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. Even yeah, I'll get to it later. Let's just see the buy sell tax. So this is the next key thing in this protocol. I guess if I was to summarize like all the really important things, it would be the mint type, the Titan allocation, and the tax allocation. I think there's probably three main bulks of everything. So looking at the buy sell tax, it's 8% during mint phase.
Yep.
I believe, and then it drops to 2% post mint phase. This is all the same.
Yep. So
it's just split 50-50 here, basically.
Yep, same thing, 50-50. And I really wanted this to 8%. It's not like a crazy amount by any means. And that is only on buys and sells. So if you do mint tokens or participate in the daily auction, you do not pay a tax. So that's really important to know. The only time you do pay a tax is when you sell on the open market or buy on the open market. And 3.5% of that will go straight to the daily auction pool, and 3.5% is burned. So it is promoting longevity throughout the mint phase, and that is a lot, and then 2.8% afterwards. So slowly, drop it down to 2.8%. I feel like that's a reasonable amount while still promoting burning and promoting growth in the daily auction pool. But the mint allocation from the daily auctions, 48% is still buying all the next day, and the buy and burn's still going throughout all of this. So
yeah, yeah. So the tax that you get through the volatility of the LP web and the pairs and all these things is going to go to primarily funding. Well, it's a 50-50, but these are the main two important things that keep the whole system turning around. I would argue that the auction pool is probably the most important thing that keeps the system like in motion.
Yep.
So yeah, basically the way you can understand this tax structure, guys, is it breaks down in a way that feeds the whole system, and also bans tokens. That's why it sends it to the auction pool. And like you'll see in a lot of these tax tokens, like they'll have LP wallets that gain tax and stuff, but that's not needed here because you gain the LP web from the auction system itself. So instead, you could just have the allocation and the tax simply to the auction system, because that's going to feed the LP pool anyway. Yeah,
exactly. So it's all of this is to just promote healthy daily auctions, and if people are participating in the daily auctions, the LP web will consistently grow, and everything is going to be a V2 LP, so it's going to be recompounded back into itself every single time. Every buy and sell, it's going to recompound back into itself. So
it's going to grow the LP. Yeah.
The LP is going to thicken up over time anyway, and hopefully, if this is the Titan X bottom, then that is really bullish for Flair's LP web. Very bullish.
Super insane. That is super insane. Like we saw with Element launched kind of during the top of Titan. So it caught the end, and you saw how much participation Element got.
Yep.
So
I think it got like 16 trillion during the 28-day mint phase.
I mean, but that is just insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can imagine now, if you do catch a pump, if Flair gets the same participation, you know, it's great because it will feed those LPs. It will have a huge buy and burn balance, huge like auction balance, and then it sets it up. Like if you have a huge auction balance, it sets you up for the colder days in the market.
Yep.
You know, like the days where the market's a bit cold, no one's trading. Just having the auction there keeps it running.
Exactly.
And I will say this, guys, like just for those who, I'll say this now. We have 100 viewers. I'm working towards being a dev in the space and working alongside different founders to build. And one thing that I'm actually working in a collaboration, so it's not all just me. Shout out Keto Natural. But one thing we're looking to do is, oh, should I say it now? Okay, I'm just gonna say it like this. We're gonna build some utility for these protocols. Let's just say it like that. I know a lot of people in the ecosystem want a lot of utility. There's some utility stuff we're looking to build. I don't want to make any promises yet, but if you guys want to know something, just know we're focused on utility. There's some stuff we want to build for the ecosystem, especially like protocols like Flare. I believe will benefit from this. So I'll tell Smooth after the stream, but yeah, that's just putting that out there for you guys. I'll let that marinate in your brains. Okay.
Hey, people love the buzzword. Utility sounds good to a lot of people.
It sounds good, yeah. Well, it's a it's a utility, and it's a.
Yeah, you don't have to give too much. You don't have to give too much.
For the whole, yeah, it's just something for the whole Titan X ecosystem that I think everyone will benefit from. That's what I'm gonna say. Especially these protocols, like the protocols will benefit from it. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna put a little tweet out in the I'm gonna put a little tweet basically showing people, let's go into the UI. I'm just gonna tweet out this says that we're gonna go into the UI. I'm gonna grab some more people in here. So
yeah, so I really think with Flair's got some stuff under the hood, and I think the UI complements that just amazingly.
You guys are about to see this UI is I want to save this. I want to save this UI as my screensaver. It's so nice. Okay. Okay, I'm just putting a little tweet out. Okay. All right, tweets out. Tweets out. Let's get into it. If they're not here by now, then sorry guys, gonna have to catch up on the stream, I guess. All right. Should we bring it up?
Let's go. Yeah, bring it up. Let's do it.
Go, guys. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Bang. Look at this, guys. Like, can you guys just appreciate for a second here this UI? Like, you know, when I look at this UI, I genuinely feel like I'm in some video game, like some VR goggles, and I'm standing on some like world, like some alien planet, and like you know, like the way the it says mint and then you have the mint box and stuff. It looks like some virtual reality like in front of my brain, in front of my eyes. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, you know, like the Apple Vision Pro, something like that. And I'm like looking at my eyes and like touching things like this. Like that's how I feel when I'm looking at it.
So it is a side scroller. So all the information will be right on the screen. So you don't even have to worry about it really.
Mm-hmm.
So on the mobile version, it's just stacked, right? You can't really do all this animation on the mobile. But nonetheless, you still have the boxes. It still looks really clean.
And you got like stars flying in the background and
exactly. So some flashing stars and some shooting stars. Really, you know, subtle.
Like, people need to. Sorry, my voice. People need to appreciate the work that goes into these protocols. I don't think people understand like the amount of work and money and energy that goes into building and designing something like this. It's not like you guys just forking a bunch of code, paying like 3K for some guy to build a website for you, and then like launching protocol. Like this stuff takes serious work. Like I think people need to actually sit down and appreciate like how much work goes into this.
Wow. It's definitely has been a lot. So yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it really has been a lot of time and energy and whatnot. So but this is when you pull up the website on Mint Day. This is going to be the Mint section. So you can come in here, toggle between ETH and Titan X, and it'll be the same ROI when things are live. This is testnet. But the summary to the Mint side, Mint section is Mint specific. So that you have the ratio, the total flare minted, that is only from mints, total deposited for this cycle, and the total Titan X deposited all time. So that is Mint specific. And then if you go over to the auction section, this is all auction specific. So it's really nice to have that breakup of information, because you don't really care how much anything is besides how much is available today, right? How many flare are available today in the auction? How much was deposited today, and then how much was deposited lifetime. So and the total participants, I kind of like that too, just to see, you know, 5, 10, 20 people, whatever, got into it. I think that's cool.
No, that's sick. Yeah. I like the I just like how visible everything is. I feel like everything is easy to see, you know, like the UI is done very well. Like the you know, everything is easy to see. Like on this page here, I can tell that I can switch between Titan X and ETH on the input because you can see it's grayed out. Like it's just everything's visible for you. It's just right there. It's not like hard to find. It doesn't feel like anything's hard to find because you know everything's just in this little bit you're looking at.
Yep.
And then just switch left and right. Like on the auction treasury balance, you can see it's very easy to see how much flare is in the treasury, and you got the summary, and then that's the key information there. You got your claim. Like even here, what I like, because of the side scroll effect, like I can see what's on my left, right, which is like now it's the auction balance or claim on the right. So like let's say I want to go and claim my tokens, it's like, and I come over to the auction page, it's like I can see where I need to go to claim my tokens. It's not like I'm looking for it and I'm lost. It's just go to the auction page and click claim.
Exactly. It's like having all the information right there, and it just guides you to want to, cycle through.
Yeah. Wow, that DAP is just, there's a level of it's not necessarily a science, man. It's a creative piece of art. Like this type of stuff is art, man. I
Thank you,
appreciate
bro.
it, like from that perspective, because I think it's, as someone who has done a comp sci degree and like done some like front end stuff, like I do appreciate how, you know, difficult this stuff is to do. It's not easy to do.
Yep. Yeah, and I added
So,
the flames on the ground for the buy and burn, like the public function for the buy and burn page, so just add a little bit of tiny bit of fire, right? You don't need a whole bunch, not to change the whole thing. So
yeah. So the
these
buy and burn here is gonna be sure. So buy and burn, you just connect to wallet. I presume once the wallet's connected, it shows you like you can run the
Yeah,
actual buy and
it's
burn
all the
function.
public functions. It will show you everything, and you know this is all stayed in X28, so everything's going to be 76% is going to be auto minting X28, and all the buy and burn is going to be held in there, as well as the auction buy as well. So these are, you'll see all of the balance in them, and they have a whole bunch of different stats on each one, accumulated intervals, trigger mode, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, and I appreciate that you're coming on the stream to show this stuff, man. This stuff is I appreciate that you're showing on my stream because this stuff is super sick. And for those who've been very attentive, for those who've been paying attention, you may have noticed I put my nicotine pouch in just before he showed this because I wanted to get the buzz while I was looking at. I waited the whole. Usually I stick it in the beginning, but I waited the whole stream. I wanted that buzz when I'm looking at the beautiful
just to peek it. All right.
Yeah. Shout out to Cryptographics. He's in the chat here. What a dap. Yeah, man. And I know Graphics is building a beautiful dap as well for Taurus. So you can see like other founders definitely will appreciate, like they know the work that goes into this stuff. I'm sure Graphics knows like
Yeah,
this stuff
his stuff looks really nice. So I can't wait to see what that looks like when it's fully live.
I just think, bro, like I honestly think the Tinex ecosystem is such a beautiful place to be. We have bare launch protocols. We have really like state of the art tokenomics on our ecosystem protocols. And then we also have like audited code. We have beautiful UIs. Like, in my opinion, this is such a good place to be in crypto. Like, it just feels like this crypto space is really taking DeFi to the next level. And I put out a tweet the other day saying like one of my like favorite things about this ecosystem is simply that all the founders are coming together and they're all like I said in the beginning, everyone's putting their minds together. And there's a level of competition, of course, between founders. Everyone, it's a meritocracy, of course. So everyone's trying to get like the best thing, and we're all like putting our brains together to really take DeFi to the next level. Like, where was DeFi 5 years ago to where it is now? Even big tokens back then, I'm not gonna cuss anyone out, but like big tokens back then, you go to their dApps and they were very, in my opinion, a lot more basic.
Yep.
Than stuff we're getting here in the Tinex ecosystem. Like you expect this type of UI from like these huge corporations who are generating, such high revenue and all this stuff. Like usually most crypto tokens have very basic UI. So like we're just pushing the boundaries. Like I genuinely believe we're pushing the boundaries of tokenomics. We're building great front ends. We're providing security in the sense of audit code. This is the premium place to launch tokens. Like if I'm launching a token on Tinex, you want it to be a premium. That's the standard we've set for this ecosystem.
Yep.
So yeah,
man. And that's exactly why I put so much effort into what the UI looked like. I really think having a strong UI, as an investor myself, there's nothing worse than going to a new project that comes out and the UI is just very underwhelming and you're not even excited to invest into it anymore, right? And I wanted people to come here and see just how fun it is and just look at it for a while and just stay on there, right? You don't feel bad at just looking at this on your screen, right? That's at the very least. I just wanted to put something cool out there for people to kind of click around and, just see
Imagine,
what's happening and looking at the stats all over and whatnot. And it's great.
that's great. But imagine in the future when everyone's on VR and we all have VR goggles in. Imagine in the future if you go to like a decentralized app on a VR. This will be the first one I'm going to.
That would be
You know what
sick.
I mean?
Yeah, that actually be really awesome. That's a great
That would
idea.
be
If
insane.
if that's
Yeah.
possible, I would love for that to happen.
Who knows, like 5, 10 years from now, like if everyone's on VR, like VR is still very new and like it's like a growing field, but like when this stuff is more like people are using this stuff like more. Imagine going to dApps like in VR. Like, can you imagine sitting in VR, like looking around and seeing this whole planet and this world, and then in front of you is like the mint, like that? Oh, that takes it to another level, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be a great way to buy crypto. If you're just sitting in a world just like clicking buttons, that'd be awesome.
That'd be insane. And like I know I really like, probably beat this point too much about UIs and stuff, but one of the ways I think that Jake did a great job with Titan X, and when I reflected on Titan X and the launch phase and stuff, one of the reasons why I feel like it did so well was because the Titan X UI was nice, simple, easy. It was a good looking UI, but also Jake displayed information that was crucial to user participation. He showed the ROI for miners. It was very clear and obvious, and there was a good breakdown of like you put in this much. Currently, the current price is this is how much it's worth at the end of your miner and stuff like this. Like showing this to users in a way that looks nice, it gets people way more likely to invest in your protocol than just saying like, oh, buy this miner, for this protocol, buy this miner, and then there's like a little really unclear ROI at the bottom of the page. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah,
having everything really clear in front of you.
absolutely.
It's a psychological element, but it pushes people to actually using the application.
Exactly. And that's why, right, on specifically, right, the ROI, right, it's neon green matching the borders of this. So it's what's captivating you into this. It's what you're looking at inside of that border plus the ROI, right? And you see the borders on the other screens to the right and left of it, right? So you're automatically wanting to scroll and see like what's on that one, what's on that one. But this is the biggest thing, that ROI just being bold, neon green, and in your face. I think that is like you're saying, you want to see that, and you don't want it to be just hidden somewhere. It's right there, right when you get in there for the
Mhm.
auction or the mint. No matter what,
Yeah,
it's the first thing you see.
yeah, and I know we've got cryptographics in there, and I know he's been saying I think similar things with Taurus. He wants the UI to be like the ROI for like making creating and staking Taurus. He wants it to be like right in your face. You can
Yep,
see what you're getting, and I think that is a big element to giving more, building more participation in the protocol and these things. So yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
want to keep on
So
beating that point, but it's just one of those things I think is important for people to understand.
yeah,
Um,
I couldn't agree more, honestly. So
yeah,
yeah,
I have a question about with Flare. So with the omni chain side of things, is there like a rush to like are you gonna take it slow with bridging Flare to like base and these things? What's the kind of game plan or what's your mindset towards? We know that Flare is an omni-chain token, it can go omni-chain. Is it something you want to wait until the end of the 11 week mint phase? Like what's the strategy? Is it like do you want to build the Ethereum LPs first and then bridge the LP to base and start building it there, or do you want to go all out on base quickly and build on Ethereum at the same time? Like what's the kind of game plan? If that makes sense.
yeah. So game plan for me personally is definitely concentrate on building the ETH liquidity pairs. Um, but slowly bring over to base. We already have tokens, Uranus and whatnot that are willing to start LPs over there if we just bring Flare tokens to base, right? So basically, how it is right now is Flare is ready to be omni chain. It needs to release, and then a little is done on the website for you to be able to bring it to base. And yeah, it's so a little things need to be done afterwards, but it is ready, and we're gonna slowly uh, bring more over there. And as more tokens start over there, that's just gonna be more pairs we're gonna bring over there. And what's really cool about base is the LPs don't necessarily have to be massive. The R bots pay so little in gas that they're able to really trade these things back and forth. So I can't wait for more tokens to go over there, and I think a lot of tokens in this ecosystem, as well as once Flare is over there and starting to have some pairs and whatnot, and being in some base spaces or live streams, talking to other founders, LPing with them, and it's a slow growth, but it's going to be a natural growth, and so short
Mhm.
answer: start with the ETH, slowly go into base.
Yeah, that approach makes a lot of sense. I think like if you think of Ethereum and the ecosystem on Titanix that we have on Ethereum, that's kind of like your main hub right now.
Yep.
That's like the main, almost like the main city, and like building Blair now, you want to like expand it mostly in the Ethereum pool first, and then once like what I would say is once you're like really happy with the Flare LPs on Ethereum, then you can probably start thinking about bridging over to base and stuff. So I assume the changes to the UI, like you said, will just be like adding a bridge section.
Yeah,
Is that right? Yeah.
pretty much.
So
Yeah, it'll be
sure. So that
straightforward, very straightforward for everybody to do that. It'll be effortless.
sure. Yeah. So there'll just be like a bridge section when once the time comes on the DApp, the same way you have it on X28.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to just bridge there, and I'm sure the tokens will be the LPs will be starting to be set up. And like you said,
Exactly.
we have like Uranus now, and I think Dude is launching a bunch of stuff, like E280 and stuff like that. That's going to be moving on to base, and Inferno, I believe
Yes.
as well, is
Yeah,
going to base.
exactly.
So
So before you know,
yeah.
I might player might have 6, 7 pairs over there on base, like quickly, So
Mhm.
it doesn't take much, and I know a lot of tokens are becoming omni-chained within our ecosystem, and you know, there's a lot of pairs that we can start without anybody's permission, and you just get a pair, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
overall, we could really grow this thing a lot, and but I think having X28 and Inferno will be our biggest two. You never know what may happen, right? A token that we're bonded to could go absolutely nuts, and that LP could grow crazily, right?
Mhm.
But to start, I know for a fact X28 and the Inferno pair are going to be our biggest, and we're going to slowly build after that.
Mhm. And this is a key point for people to understand with anything that's a LP web or like one of these like index token ideas is obviously the token is kind of like economically charged with what it's paired to, right? So like if a token which is an LP web gets paired to a really weak token, then that kind of actually damages the LP web and it damages the token. And and for those who are in Pulse Chain and stuff like that, I'm sure they're witnessing this now with this whole PDI craziness going on. And like I think the Atropa dev, like, you know, I don't know what's going on there really, so I'm not gonna like say it in an absolute sense, but like what it seems to me that happened is people started flooding PDI. There was like some like sort of minting bug on PDI, and the Atropa dev was like, hold on a second, this is gonna damage the Atropa ecosystem. I need to basically drain this LP. So he drained the LP, because otherwise it would like really damage the whole Atropa LP if there's like one single LP that's super exploitable. So with that being said, with Flare being bonded to, I believe it's going to be hyperdeflationary assets only, like if you build the LPs out in a way that it's bonded to super bullish assets, then that's your leverage on all of those assets. And people don't forget, Baby Dragon X did a 200x simply because it was bonded to Dragon X, which is like 100x, and it does 2x. That's right. All it needs to do is 2x the ratio, and it made a 200x gain. And that's one LP being bonded to one really bullish asset. Imagine having something bonded to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 super bullish assets. That makes that asset even more bullish because now it's a leverage upon all this other bullish stuff. So with LP webs, you really have to get it right. You want to bond to like what is the most bullish thing to bond to, essentially.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And I think, us obviously doing a lot of the tokens within the ecosystem on ETH and base, they are almost all capped, which I really love. And no matter what, over time, the LP is going to thicken up no matter what over, the token depreciating and our LP being V2 constantly compounding back into each other. So it's almost you start it, we can obviously add more over time, but at least starting it is the biggest part. And then, people trade within and out of it, our bots trade within and out of it, and it slowly just grows and grows over time. And so things can start really small and become really massive with time in the market. So it's to your point, definitely if you're ramped and a bonded to a token that really ramps up and grows really fast, like your token being a little bit lighter could really go crazy with that. So and once that goes and this LP over here is going crazy, then all of the R bots have just instant ROI across all of the other pairs. It's mind blowing stuff, really.
it's looking really bullish to build R bots right now.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah,
ecosystem,
exactly.
there's so many like R bot plays right now. Keto has a question. Will you be creating LPs with other tax tokens?
I
That could be
probably,
an interesting. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, um, definitely want to, it's a little bit more streamlined if we're LP'd with a non-tax token, just for buying and selling, because going in and out of it will have different percentages, selling it and selling the other thing. So those LPs might look a little funky, but overall, yes, like E280, right? Like there's a lot of great projects that are capped fully deflationary that do have a tax. So um,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think yes, but we'll see how it
Sure.
goes.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you have an LP web bonded to another LP web, the one downside is it may have less ARB because there's two taxes that need to be paid in the transaction to like for R bots to go through them. So
Exactly.
um, you know, there just may be less arbing on that pair, so it may not be as beneficial as you think it is, like initially. Um, but then even on base, like I don't know, I think Uranus has like a changeable tax rate, if I think that's right. So
Yep,
who
they
knows
do.
what happens with that? Maybe that tax rate one day will come down, and if it comes down, maybe it'll make more sense to bond to it because the the tax isn't going to be too crazy for like our bots and stuff. Saying that though, if there's enough volume, like if there's enough discrepancy in price, bots will trade it. Like
Yep.
we saw with Element when it was on launch phase, it had a 16% tax,
And no
and
one cared.
it was
They were
doing,
burning everything.
that's what I mean, right? It was doing
Yeah.
like millions of volume a day. It was
Yep.
crazy. So I think as long as you have the volume, it's not as big of an issue with whatever you're bonded to. Like as long as the volume is there, even if there's two taxes to be paid, it can still be a bullish thing.
Yep.
Particularly like if your anus is approach like if a bunch of people are buying up Uranus and Uranus is really bullish, then it kind of you can catch some of that drift by being bonded to Uranus. I think they're doing the
Yeah.
burn event soon. Are they doing the burn event soon?
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
too
going to
sure.
be Saturday, I
Yeah.
believe.
So
Yeah, and with
there's a
Uranus as well is they do have I believe they have a DAO to dictate how much burning is happening. And it was originally set to 20%, but with the pairs on base, it wasn't really even possible to trade in and out of it for some reason. Like it was just a weird routing issue within the pairs and
Mhm.
whatnot. So they had to drop it down. So, people can actually, like the system Uniswap could actually, flow within the logic of going from this pair to that pair to that pair. And eventually it got there, and now they found a sweet spot, and I think it's 16% is like the max that they can do.
And they're still doing quite good, I think. I see a lot of people happy about Janus.
People love it.
People love Janus, man. Oh, my light fell. Hold on, that's a blooper.
Yeah,
that's a blooper on the stream.
31%, 2.42 x28 ratio.
Wow,
it's really solid.
That's insane. Yeah.
Look at that, Titan-X, just like I said earlier, right? Now we're at 6018, just that easy, right? Titan-X up 22% in the past 24 hours. Wow,
that's nice to see.
So this is why I have been so bullish on releasing Flare. It feels a little different. It feels like a bottom, and obviously feelings can be very wrong sometimes, but the 11 weeks, we will have a solid time throughout the market, and hopefully we start building slow momentum again, right? Slow momentum is better than no momentum.
And look, guys, look at this. Titan-X is up 22% in the 24 hours, and look at all these other protocols on top that are mostly up more percent-wise. Dragon-X up 26%, Volt is up 24%, and you have like Janus is up 31%, Ascendant is up 35%, like Oryx is up 32%. Like, this is the power of build on Titan-X. And I know the negative of it for everyone, which we've been feeling in the past few months, is when Titan goes down, everything drops, and it drops more. But then the upside is when Titan goes up, everything really does pump, like quite crazily.
And
I know,
it's tough because bonded liquidity, when it's this bonded that we're seeing right now, if the main thing that it's bonded to starts going down a little bit, everything goes down with it. But the exact opposite is true. And when things start going really well, everything goes really well. So some people can't stomach the volatility of, bonded liquidity. And unfortunately, this is the blessing and the curse of bonded liquidity, right?
Yeah, of course. I think, what's your views then? Because I know there's been a lot of back and forth discussion on this, like crazy. I haven't been too active on socials recently, so like every time I log on to Twitter or X, I just see the same stuff being discussed. What is your views on this whole like ethos build on Titan-X, like pairing outside of the ecosystem? I know it's a controversial one, but like, what's your like just general what's the general views on it?
I think, it definitely needs to be a hashed out kind of community driven thing, because if the ethos needs to be changed and moved a little bit for potential growth, I'd be open to that, right? But what is a hindrance on the ecosystem or not, right? And it's up to interpretation, and that's pretty tough, right? But
yeah,
we have a lot of people in the ecosystem that are, known within our ecosystem, not necessarily other ecosystems. So it's kind of tricky. If you're bringing in liquidity, then I think it's okay. But if you're not bringing in liquidity and you're within this, maybe it's not. But I don't know. I could see a total world where a percent maybe allocated towards it is fine, but not like a massive percent or something like that. But this could be a community 3-4 hour 5-hour stream on, just discussing this, to be honest, because it is like a milestone type of thing. Is we're growing and we have a lot of projects, and where do we go from here and whatnot. And so I could be really open to see kind of what a lot of people say.
I think it's one of those ones, like, I think if you view Titan-X as this concept of it being an L1 within L1 that expands to other L1s, like if you view it from that perspective of like an L1, like think about Pulse Chain, like pretty much everything on Pulse Chain is bonded to Pulse. and maybe it's also bonded to like a stable coin. And I think cryptographics brought this up in a tweet, which was really interesting. But like, if you think about pulse trading, right, like everything's bonded to pulse, and everything depends on pulse price.
Yep.
And everything has to route ultimately through pulse into wrapped ETH or stablecoin or these types of things. I think I view Titan X in a similar way, where like everything will be bonded to Titan X or X28, and perhaps what we need. So I haven't been saying too much about this because I like to really soak up what everyone's saying. Because like yourself, I think this is something that you know, it's going to require like a lot of community-driven discussions.
Yeah.
And perhaps everyone's views will change, and I'm always open to changing my views. I will never say I'm 100% right, but like I think the way, from the kind of discussions I've seen being had, what resonates with me the most currently would be we need super thick LP on the WETH Titan X pool to support the whole ecosystem, and then at the same time perhaps we need like, we have a native stablecoin now, but like perhaps we need a few stablecoin pairs with certain projects. And if that's bonded to a stablecoin that's ultimately a Titan X stablecoin, then maybe that's not necessarily a downfall. I'm sure there's people out there who are more proficient in this topic than I am, and there's been a lot of spaces recently discussing that type of stuff. I know like Marco and different people have come on and given their views and stuff. But like the way I look at it is Titan X is an L1 than an L1. So the main pairs for everything should be Titan X. Maybe there's an argument you can give a small percent to something else to allow better routing and these types of things. But like for sure, the main pair has to be Titan X in my opinion. And Stevie's been saying this a lot recently. Maybe the best approach will be we just build up the WEF Titan X pool, and perhaps moving forward when we launch stuff to support the WEF Titan X pool and really build it to make it nice and thick. Because the way I envision Titan X being would be like, for me, the perfect scenario for Titan X is it has a very stable price, which is slowly tracking the miner difficulty. So like, let's say there's a 20% or 10% ROI on Titan X miners, but you know that the price is very stable and it's going to slowly carry on tracking the, I know that's probably impossible to do because like people will sell and there'll be these cycles, but like for me, that's like the best case scenario for Titan X is like low volatility in price, and it being this big foundation that just slowly tracks its price movement. We know it's programmed to become 55,000x more expensive to mine, etc., etc. So if we can just track that kind of programmable like difficulty price-wise and keep the LPs thick, I think to me that's like probably the best scenario. Anyway, that's just me speaking my current thoughts. There's people more qualified than me on this.
I think there's a lot of great validity to what you said as well. So I think, going forward, I definitely think it needs to be a community conversation. And I think a lot of people need to be heard on it, just to see exactly how we want to go forward with the growth and healthiness of the ecosystem in mind. And how do we get, more users, more growth, some green candles, right? Like all of this helps the ecosystem and the community. And I mean, you see every time we go up a little bit in price, like the community's like back all of a sudden, like it's like instantly, so it's like we all get beat up a little bit on price. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we are still here. There's a lot of people that really believe still. And I'm telling you right now, the builders are still building, and a lot of them have utility in mind. So it is not a thing of if, but when, in my opinion.
100%, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's been a bit of a turbulent time, but like you just said, as soon as we see green candles, everyone comes back. And I think there was, I don't know who said it was probably Jake, but like 3 or 4 days of good green candles, like everyone was going to be back.
So I said, yeah, it feels great, right?
You know what I mean? It's like it's just one of those ones. Like,
yep.
People get too beat up about the price, but like as soon as things are bullish again, everyone's bullish, and The haters, they run away. It's funny. It's the same cycle. Like, you know, when prices are going down, all the haters, they come out of the woodwork. You know, they're all out on Twitter. They're telling you, like, I said this time ago. You'll see someone being like, I knew this was going to happen. That's why I exited and da 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 and da 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 da. This is trash. This is terrible. And then, like, oh, a couple of days of green candles, and everyone's like, nah, this is it. This is it. We're back. We're back. We're going to the moon.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just funny to see, like, how much people's emotional state is affected. And it makes sense because it is people's money that's invested, but like how much the community sentiment switches. Just a few green candles, and it's like everything's different.
Exactly.
But like
and
my
all of a
view,
sudden, you know, we're up 35% or more from the bottom, you know,
yeah,
past week or two. So, and it's pretty cool. Like I wanted to release Flare on after two green weekly candles. And if everything goes well, we should be our second green weekly candle this Sunday and Flare will be released. So hopefully everything goes well and you know I can at least release it into a sea of green. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Let me just
Yep.
bring my screen up again. Yeah, so this is the Tinex chart right now, as you can see. Ignore my lines. I am no TA. I just like to draw lines. Just bear that in mind, guys. But like, yeah, look at this. Look at this green candles. I mean, these are pretty aggressive green candles here.
Exactly.
And
yeah, if you
that's
look
a
at the
nice.
weeks, it looks pretty like a good bounce.
Yeah, this is the week. And there's a few things I can say here. Like for sure, people remember like we did this previous uptrend we did while we were still quite inflationary at
Yep.
X. And now like I've said this before, but like, the way I see things now is the next wave could be super aggressive. And the reason why I believe that is because there's going to be virtually no inflation on Titan X in terms of miners. Okay. And also, there's so many flywheels now built in and baked into the ecosystem with all these different protocols that can all kick off and drive up so much more green candles on themselves, which will drive up Titan X. Like, there's so many flywheels baked into the ecosystem. There's barely any supply coming out, and also the burning rate on Titan X could be ridiculous now. You know, the amount of burning we could see can be literally insane. I mean, with X28, just going into X28 is going to burn 50% of what you put in. So if there's like huge protocols popping off, and this is why like I really like, you know, Uranus, like if there's these protocols popping off on base that are really like doing good and they drive people in, then you know, that's going to burn just so much Titan X. So much Titan X going to be burned in the uptrend. I'm really gonna pay close attention to the stats page on Tinex in this next uptrend that we go on when we go onto it. And my honest opinion on, you know, the stuff right now and the sentiment is like the way I see it is like the wider market sentiment is quite low in general. And everyone's like pointing fingers like, oh, Tinex is down, blah blah blah. But like look at everything, bro. Everything is basically down right now.
Yep.
So it's just crypto in general, like the crypto markets in general are down right now. That's just the way I look at it. So obviously altcoins are gonna have higher highs and lower lows. That's the nature of the game of being an altcoin. It's a young altcoin in its first cycle. The price volatility is gonna be crazy. So guys, always take profits. Like always DCA out some profits on the uptrend. The same way you're gonna DCA in on the downtrend. Just play the same game on the reverse, and you know, that's just the game you have to play in crypto.
Exactly. Yeah, and one thing I'll add as well is to your point of how much tokens we're going to burn. You know, when V1 gets turned on, right at those lows that we were at, you know, 5-6 days ago or whatever, there's enough economic energy within that buy and burn to virtually delete every single liquid supply token. So circulating supply. So I mean, you know, whenever that thing gets turned on, if you add a ETH pump to that thing and how much it's going to do, there's a lot of bullishness and there's this supply absolutely has no chance. I can't say that enough. It has no chance. And whether you're feeling it price wise or not, you are gaining ownership every single day, more and more ownership over time just by holding it.
And it's death by 1,000 cuts. Like there's so many different avenues now to play with your Titan-X and burn it and do all these things. I can see it being insane. And your point on V1 is so important because even at low price, it gives you so much peace of mind knowing that, look, guys, V1 right now can buy up the whole supply if it wanted to. Like I know that's not actually possible because it's whatever's in the LP.
Exactly.
But like, V1 has enough economic energy right now to just like absolutely send it on the price chart. And I feel like that gives you peace of mind because that even if it goes further down, it makes the leverage of V1 even more strong. You know what I mean, right?
Exactly.
Like, worst case, imagine price goes down again another 50%. Now V1 is like super powerful, right? Like compared to the price and everything. So yeah, the potential like bounce, the potential volatility, the potential uptrend, the lower it goes, it's like, I don't know who gave this example, but someone said a while ago, and I remember it, like it's like pushing a ball underwater. Like the lower you push it, the more energy it builds up, and then when you let go, it just rises really quickly. I kind of feel like Titan-X and all of these protocols that have a bind burn have that kind of dynamic to them because you push the price down low enough, that economic energy is going to be so much more powerful that's stored in those bind bands. So yeah, so many catalysts in this game, guys. I just think I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy to be in the Titan-X ecosystem. I think it's such a great place to be. So I know I haven't been streaming. I'm not streaming because I'm bearish or anything. For those who are just catching now, I've been focused on other things. I'm going into being a dev, so I'm building like my own things and stuff like that. So I've been focused on that, and that doesn't mean I'm stopping streaming. I'm gonna still try and keep up with the streaming and keep up with it as much as I can. But yeah, just want to put that out there, guys. Keep an eye out. We might have some things cooking. If anyone has any questions, we'll get to that, and then I think we'll close out unless there's anything else you wanted to.
No, I mean, that's, if anybody has any questions, that'd be awesome. But overall, I think right now there is something different in the waters of Titan-X, and Flare's jumping in there. And, I hopefully will be a catalyst on not only Titan-X, but to get that X28 and Titan-X LP, or ratio a little bit more up, right? Like closer to 1:1. And, there's a ton of baked in tokenomics to Flare. If people think this is just a cookie cutter thing, like a different project, they are absolutely wrong. This is completely different than anything we've seen before. No one has done these tokenomics. No one has done this mint structure. And there is so much utility coming in the future. So, yeah, I just appreciate you for having me on, Jukes. Nonetheless, you're always a fun stream. And, I think we always have some really great conversations.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. I think we have like insane. I really enjoy having you on the show, for sure. And I'm more than happy to always jump on with you, even if it's just like a last minute stream. Like I'm always happy to jump on because, yeah, like you said, we always have really great informative conversations, and I'm always learning from all the founders I sit with. I look at you guys as being in the game longer than me, and even for myself to have the opportunity to come and talk to you guys and learn from you guys is truly an honor. I'm like, I go into this sponge mode where I'm just trying to soak up every piece of information, from everyone.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm the same. I am the exact same way. And, I have a ton of, people on my channel as well. And there's a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me that I'm just happy that I get to have conversations with them and just be around and soak up knowledge. And it's, they always say like the closest 5 friends that you have is a resemblance or reflection of who you are, right? And I got a lot of friends in crypto that are really fucking smart. So it's like it's a lot more than 5 to say the least.
For sure. Yeah. And this all ties back into what I was saying earlier, guys, with this ecosystem and it kind of being this honeypot of really intelligent minds all coming together to work on this vision and to build DeFi in a fair way, in an audited way, secure way, and really pushing the boundaries of DeFi and what's possible on the blockchain, to build. So I think this place is sick, and I said this before, but I'll say it again. Like, look at the invention of cars, and once we invented the first one, how that developed so quickly. Everyone went from horseback for thousands of years, and then 30 years later, they're all driving cars. Like, technology can really expand rapidly. Like, that's the nature of technology. When you have a breakthrough, it really breaks through. Other examples I can give is, this is some may not understand this one, but in jiu-jitsu, you have this phenomenon that happened. I don't know if it was like maybe 10 years ago now or something, but there was this trainer called John Danaher. He's like an OG, like probably the best jiu-jitsu coach out there.
Okay.
He developed the so jiu-jitsu is like a submission game where you submit people, and for almost all of jiu-jitsu's history, they were primarily focused on upper body submissions, like choking your neck or breaking your arm, these types of things. He came along and said, like, why is everyone ignoring half of the body, which is the legs?
Yep.
So he developed the leg lock game in jiu-jitsu and really took it to an extreme. His students came along, started destroying everyone, the whole competition. Like, they came in, they won like every competition. They were absolutely destroying everyone, rinsing everyone. They made people who were thought to be the best in the game looking like amateurs because they were leg locking them, and just absolutely it was a different league.
Yep.
And they brought a new game, and they developed they innovated in a new way, and it developed jiu-jitsu, and now everyone is leg locking, and now the whole game is better. Like, everyone knows leg locks, everyone knows these things, and it pushed the level of competition up so much,
Yep.
And that's what I see in Titan X. Like, Jay came along and was like, I like virtual mining, I like Binance, I like these things, put them all together and make a beast. And now everyone's like, hold on, that looks really cool. Why did that work? What went good for it? What went bad for it? Etc. Etc. And they're all just taking these elements and just trying them in different ways and really pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible. And I'll say one more point on this note. And I don't want to ramble too long on this point, but I really believe if you have a theory, there's no point on just talking about it. You have to test your theory. You have to put your theory out there and really test it. That's why sciences like physics are so great, because we can have a theoretical theory and then we can go and practically test it and see if it actually works. For example, in UFC is such a cool thing because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people thought maybe karate is good, maybe Muay Thai is good, maybe boxing is good, maybe wrestling is good. Everyone had different theories about how to fight. So they were like, let's put all these people together and see who wins. Like, let's see what works. And then everyone came together and they were like, oh, hold on a second, Muay Thai is really sick at striking. But then if I'm a wrestler and I can get you down to the floor and jiu-jitsu you, then I'm going to destroy someone who's good at striking. So we tested all these theories, put them together. And now you have fighters who are well-rounded in everything. They're strikers, they're wrestlers, they're good at jiu-jitsu, they're good at everything. And again, when you put people in a position where they're going to push the boundaries of what we know is possible and test their theory, then that's where you get innovation. So that's why I support protocols that come out, because these people are testing their theories of what they think is good on the blockchain, and they're putting their money behind it. They're auditing their code. They're getting everything done for you guys to play with in a safer environment, and we're testing to see what works. Like, what tokenomics are good, what tokenomics are bad. There's been some protocols that I've launched outside of Titan X that tried something similar, and there was an exploit, there was a bug, and it didn't work, and their theories didn't work. And true, that was an economic disaster for some people, but we got to learn from that experience what works and what doesn't work. I don't want to ramble too much about this. I just think it's really important, and I think this space is moving forward. People are innovating, people are growing, people are learning, and that's what I like to see. So those are really my closing thoughts. I already said thank you to Smooth, but I'll say again, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you all the time. And thank you to all the people who've been in the comments. We've had Cryptographics, we've had Keto Natural, we've had Mrs. Woodall, we've had some new faces in here. I do believe we see Trust Titan X plan, so I'm grateful for having you back. And Max Kane, like all these people who jumped on. So I appreciate all of you. And I will be back, guys. I'm contemplating making more videos and live streams, but we'll see how that plays out. And I'll keep you guys updated on my X and stuff like that. So Flare is launching on Friday. Keep an eye out. Hopefully the stream has been a good refresher for you guys to understand it. Hopefully you've been able to appreciate the UI. So keep an eye out, guys. And yeah, wherever you are in the world, have a good day or sleep or rest or breakfast, wherever you are. And yeah, I'll see you guys. Peace.